Hello everybody, my name is Charles Vest, and did you know that healthcare is the #1 topic that folks are talking about today? Why? Well, unfortunately, Obamacare is imploding and there isn't any help in sight. Ray McDonald and his team have put together a solution that not only is exclusive, but is very affordable.
Hi, my name is Ray McDonald. I'm one of the founding partners here at iCAN Financial.
Hello. My name is Jason Martinez, one of the founding partners of iCAN Financial.
Hi, I'm BJ, iCAN founding partner, and it's my honor to share with you today how iCAN is here to serve you and why iCAN was born.
Years ago, I got involved in the healthcare industry because I really loved helping people. Helping people for me was a big thing because of the fact that I spent most of my life in hospitals growing up.
Before I was blessed to partner up with Ray and BJ, I had a home theater satellite installation company. It was a great business. You know, we were in and out of clients' homes, had the benefit of serving over 3,500 clients, whether I was fixing or installing or working with them to provide a phenomenal service. I loved what I did, but I found that I was working long hours, driving those late nights across Texas, trying to get these jobs done and get home in time to have somewhat of a family life.
I was raised by a single mom, the oldest of 3 siblings, and because my mom worked so much, I had to learn to manage the situation and make sure my siblings were okay.
At the time, I was a single father, raising my child by myself. It was very challenging. I lived in Novadio. Novadio is sort of like the ghetto, or it's kind of like a rough area of town, if you will. And it was a very tough neighborhood.
So imagine being from Little Rock, Arkansas, born to a line of poor people. I mean a long line of poor people. I've got references.
I would sit there and I was kind of thinking about my life and thinking about my father. And my father was also a single dad. He was raising 3 kids by himself. And here I am raising 1, but I didn't want to repeat that cycle. So I was like, no, what can I do? What can I do differently than my father?
I knew this was something that I couldn't do forever. I knew I had to make a change so I could be there for my kids, to see them grow up, to provide that, instill those types of values.
I did what any sane person would do, looking to break the chains of poverty. I enlisted in the Marine Corps. I was proud to be a U.S. Marine. It's a title you have to earn. And once you have it, no one can take it away from you. Then tragically, I was injured in a training accident and my Marine career was ended, just like that. So I found myself having to leave the Marine Corps behind, having to start all over again.
Working at the hospital, I was grateful for the fact that I was working in a hospital and being there, having a job and everything. But at the same time, I wasn't happy. I knew I wasn't happy doing that. I knew I wanted something more. I just didn't know what it was.
I remember staying up late. On TV comes those infomercials, right? You were probably familiar. You probably heard the story Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I got to hear an outline of it because as I was watching that, I didn't even have enough money to pay the $19.95 to get the book.
I would just literally, be home and sitting on the bed and watch a little TV, late night infomercials, and I see these guys, talking about, they're making $5,000 a week or making $5,000 a month, and they're on these bar stools on the beach, and it's a glamorous lifestyle. And I was like, man, it's like, it's possible. Those people, that life is out there.
I learned one valuable lesson from just watching the outline of what he was talking about. I learned that my dad was the poor dad in that story. He would work so hard at night, he would come home late, I would already be in bed, he would leave early, I'd get up for school, he'd already be gone. I never got to see him, but he worked hard. He instilled that work hard mentality. Now that's great, but that was the poor dad mentality.
How can I get that life? I wasn't so much buying what they were selling, but I was buying the life that they had, the freedom that they had, because I knew that's what I wanted, but I didn't want to be working in a regular job my whole life. I knew I was destined for more than that in my belief system. I'm thinking, you know what, if I think about it, I can achieve it. My first book I've ever read was a book called Think and Grow Rich. Most business people, most people who had any success in life had read this book or know of this book. It changed the way I thought, it changed my behavior, it changed my posture, my belief system, because I really believe that, if you think about something, you can do it. So Napoleon Hill literally became my very first mentor. And that really gave me the hope that I needed at that time in my life.
And so as I'm in these clients' homes, I realize they grew their value in a different way. These clients that are well-to-do, this is almost like my rich dad, if you will.
I saw some of my friends of mine that were dressed in these nice clothes and these nice cars. I was like, I'm walking up to these guys. I said, hey man, tell me a little bit about what you're doing. I see you all the time hanging out in the cars and these nice clothes all the time. What is it you're doing? I said, well, Ray, we're in the insurance business.
I would always ask people, what do you do for a living? The people that were well-to-do, they seem to have one thing in common. They were all in the insurance industry.
I said, wow, the insurance business, wow. So can I do that? Can I sell insurance? And they say, well, yeah, absolutely you can. I said, well, if I could sell insurance, would I be able to have these nice cars and have these nice suits and everything you guys have? And they're like, well, absolutely. I said, well, fantastic.
Coming to that realization, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to figure out how I could work smarter, not harder.
So I was working in debt settlement, making great money. Things were going great. Then overnight, my income gets cut by 90%, and there's nothing I can do about it. One of my friends knew a guy who was working in insurance and he was doing exceptionally well. This guy traveled between his two homes, one in California, one in Dallas. So a group of us from that job where we lost the majority of our income decided to go to his home in Dallas and meet with him and learn about the system that he worked.
What do I do? How do I do that? I said, well, first thing you got to take a test. And I'm like, oh, holy smokes, take a test. Because taking a test for me was paralyzing for me. But the fact that when I was born with dyslexia and severe learning disabilities. So school and academics was very, very challenging for me. So these guys saying I got to take a test. And I was like, oh my gosh, I see this lifestyle that's literally in my grasp. But now I had to take this test that was blocking me from doing that.
I had to get licensed to sit down with families and take care of them. This is an industry that I've never had any experience in before. When was I going to study? I'd get home late, I would sit down, I remember sitting at my desk, I had my phone cord strung across the ground. You remember the old AOL dial-up? I'm trying to get information so I could study. So I'm sitting here thinking, man, I don't have time to study. Can I take the test without studying?
So I still had my head wrapped around this debt settlement thing I was working on. But I said to myself, imagine if what this guy is saying is real. What did I have to lose? And this guy was winning. And he had a lifestyle that I aspired to have.
If you believe it, you can achieve it. And I started to visualize myself as an insurance agent. I started to visualize myself passing a test. I started visualizing myself being successful.
Here I am doing something new. My wife walks in, I'm at the computer studying to get my license. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm trying to get my insurance license. Why are you trying to do that? She would ask. I'm like, so we can make a change. And is that really gonna work? She would ask me that. Are you sure? And I would answer her with full confidence, yes, it's gonna work. But you know what? Deep down inside, I was scared. I wasn't sure. This was a new industry for me.
You know, sometimes life can be cruel, hard, but it's not always fair. It can knock you down. So the question is, are you gonna get back up? Keep taking those hits. Keep pushing forward. For me, that question's easy.
I focused, I got my studying done, I acquired the knowledge that I needed to go pass this test. I finally got that license. I thought, this is it, it's time.
Took the paper and I kind of looked at it and I passed by 1 point and I was like the happiest guy on the planet. I called everybody, I was like, I'm gonna sell insurance and my life's gonna change, but I really felt for the first time that I had hope now.
So I went out and I got the license to sell insurance to an underserved market.
It was hard for me because I had to call these people. And so it was hard, and no one knew at the time, the company I was working for at the time, that I had another fear. But I also had a severe speech impediment too. Speaking was not my strong suit. So when I started talking to people on the phone, calling people on the phone, these leads, and I had to do it in front of other people. So the anxiety and the nerves were there. So I would learn to call people up and I'd start stuttering, you know, like, da, 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 da.
I remember going through that learning curve, trying to call my clients and set appointments, going to sit down with my clients, and eventually I was able to help the people I sat down with.
I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had during this time because it really helped me push myself out of my comfort zone. It made me talk to people, it made me get in front of people, And it made me the person who I am today.
That whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
At the time, I was driving this little orange Toyota Tercel SR5. It was quite embarrassing, but it was like an orange pumpkin. And I would literally go to people's houses. I would park down the street because I didn't want people to see the car I was in. You know, here I am thinking I'm a life insurance agent. I'm going to sell some insurance, and I'm in this car. I remember going to that appointment scared as all get out, and the person wanted to buy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited. And I was just like, I remember, you know, I wanted to run out of the house, you know, dancing, in a car. And I was so excited because it was my first sale. And I was like, oh my gosh, my life's going to change. And like, okay, this is it, I'm on my way.
So as I approached this new industry, I was still putting in satellites, home theater systems, because I had to make ends meet. But I had to make that transition.
Now I'm at a moral dilemma. I was still holding on to this job, not really sure if the insurance thing was real.
I had to find the right leadership. I had to find the right people to latch onto that could help guide me through the business, teach me how to help the families that I was sitting down with.
So then I got a call from my insurance mentor. He summoned me to his office. And at first I was kind of concerned. I wasn't sure if I was getting fired all over again. But I remember sitting there with him at that conference table. And he said to me, buddy, you got to burn those bridges. Make this your full-time thing.
I was able to latch on to the right people. I was able to find the right guidance.
So, you know, I went back to these guys in the suits and the cars, and I was talking to them again. It's like, hey, so are you sure this is what you're doing? You know, because, you know, I'm after making sales. I'm making a little bit of money, but I see you guys in these nice cars and these nice suits, and are you sure it's what you're doing? And they're like, yeah, Ray, this is what we're doing. You know, but you gotta understand, Ray, number one, we've been doing this a lot longer than you have. Okay. Number two, we have agencies underneath us. We have agents that we override off of.
You know, it grew to a point to where the clients that I would sit down across from would ask me, gosh, what did you do to get into this? I want to do what you're doing. As a byproduct of doing good things for people, I ended up with an agency. I didn't even want to grow an agency. I was happy sitting down, working with families, getting them taken care of.
And I was like, wait a second, what does that mean you have agencies? It's like, well, we have an agency. We have people underneath us that we override. And I was like, wow. I said, well, can I do that? Of course you can build an agency. So I just didn't know how to do it. I was like, well, what do I do? I said, well, Ray, just bring people to us and we'll talk to them for you. And then if they get excited, they'll join and whatnot. And I would literally bring people to these guys every single day, bringing them. And I heard the story so many times told by these guys that I knew the story now. I didn't need these guys anymore.
So that was the sign I needed to make this my full-time thing.
So by this time I had a handful of agents that I was working with. I was working with them, I was coaching them, I was mentoring them, getting busier now in the insurance industry. I was selling more applications, I was recruiting more people.
I would bring the people that I worked with into the business. People trusted me with their livelihood and their families to come to this industry and guide them just like I was guided through.
I'm here to change people's lives. We've been stuck in that poverty mindset and sometimes don't even realize it.
And I would take my daughter to school every morning at 8:30, and then I'll pick her up at 3:30. I would go to this place called the Village Inn. It was like an IHOP, it's like a diner, if you will. Literally, I would be there every day at 4 o'clock, and I was sitting in the same booth, and everybody who knew me, they knew that Ray would be at the Village Inn at 4 o'clock. And they will bring their prospects to me, they will bring customers to me. That was my office.
So I walked into that debt settlement company and I quit that JOB, which stands for just over broke.
My agency started to grow. People started to believe in what we were doing because they were seeing the success, not just for me, but also with themselves. And I was excited too because my life was starting to change.
And my business grew to a point to where I was able to step out of the home satellite installation company. I came home, I was able to tell my wife, you don't have to go to that car sales job anymore. You're staying home, you're working with me, we're working together.
That's when I went out and wrote over $20,000 in insurance in my first 2 weeks, helping people that were asking for the help.
I remember my very first check I got that I was super excited about was a $500 residual check. Then my check went from $500 to $750, right? Next milestone was $1,000, then $1,500. That $1,500 grew to $2,000. That $2,000 grew to $5,000 a month. And all of a sudden, it went from $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. $30,000 a month mark happened. Then my income went from $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 a month, $60,000 a month, all the way up to, my average income is anywhere from $125 to $150, coming in residually all the time. And for me, that was life-changing.
From there, it was time. It was time to say, we need to take a vacation. Growing up, I never really got to take many vacations. That's one of the first things that we did. So we're taking the cruise, we're out there, we're on the ship, we're looking over, just the waves hitting the front of the ship, just splashing away. We're marching through the ocean. And I look over at her and she gives me that look.
I had a call from the company I was working with. They called me and said, hey, Ray, we need you to come down here to Dallas. We're going to shoot a video of you and some other people, kind of tell your story and what's been going on, because you've been having so much success in your business. Flew to Dallas. We're in this crazy mansion. Then the guy said, okay, Ray, look, what we want you to do, I want you to step on this line. I want you to look at this camera, and that white light comes on. I want you to just look at the camera and just tell your story. So basically what I did, I kind of stepped back for a minute. I saw the line, I stepped on it, I looked at the camera.
And I knew then that when she first asked me, are you sure? I knew then that I was right when I said yes.
And I just started crying. I was, literally just crying. And the guy's like, man, are you crying? I said, no, I'm not crying. I'm not crying at all, man. Like, it looks like you're crying. But I was crying, and I started to sob. It hit me at that moment, at that time. What happened was I realized, here I am making a video about my success, my life at that time, and why I got so emotional was I remembered instantly, as the second I stepped on that line, me back in my bed, watching my little TV on those infomercials, on those other people's lives. Here I am thinking, now I made it. I'm making my own video now. I'm making my own lifestyle video. And that just made me change, and it just changed everything for me.
And now, I call my own shots. That's what has me passionate. That's what has me excited. I wake up every day excited.
I always talk about this industry, why I'm so passionate about this business, because I know firsthand what it can do, because I experienced it firsthand, and nobody can tell me anything different. It's as real can get. It changed the way I speak, it changed the way I do business, the way I talk to people, it gave me the confidence I have. It even changed my zip code.
As my agency grew and people trusted me more and more to partner with me and work with me, it was a phenomenal experience. But unfortunately, there were some red flags here and there. One day I remember logging on to the carrier website and I saw something that I wasn't sure about. It just didn't sit right with me. But I thought, no, this couldn't be. Maybe it's a mistake or something. Eventually, more and more red flags started to pop up. So much so that the people that trusted me to come into the business, some of those red flags affected them. And then at one point, one of those red flags hit me so hard, I felt like I couldn't get back up. It knocked me out of the insurance industry, literally.
Then one day, I get the phone call. I get this phone call that literally changed everything in my life. I lost everything. Everything stopped. Everything was over. $90 million Americans out there do not have health care. This is a major problem in the United States of America right now. People can't afford health care, but people need health care. Obamacare, as we know it today, is imploding. The repeal and replace is not going to happen anytime soon. If it does happen, it's going to take years. We truly have the solution to America's cry for health care. Here at iCAN Financial, we are saving families money on health care. Imagine they're paying $1,500 a month down to $500 a month. Now with that, they also have a $30 office visits. That's all they're going to pay, not a penny more. This is huge, guys. I don't think you understand the power that we have here, how we're literally are changing the healthcare industry right now in America. And more importantly, when there's a problem, when you have a solution, that's where opportunity lies. For our agents out there, and just the sheer fact alone that we're able to help the 90 million Americans out there that need healthcare, which is huge by itself. that we're able now not only help the families that need health care, but the insurance agents, the licensed agents out there, the herding agents out there. Our mission, our goal is to help 100,000 agents become six-figure earners.
With the timing of the market and healthcare, health costs being such a huge problem in the country, when three people come together with a common goal and a phenomenal product that no one else has access to, we knew we had something special. And that's how iCAN Financial was born.
I now aspire to help other people who grew up poor like I did. People who sometimes can't see beyond their circumstances and know there's something better out there.
Me and BJ, we had the benefit and blessing through a mutual partnership of meeting Mr. Ray McDonald.
So when Jason, VJ, and myself were sitting down talking about the company, what we wanted, how it was going to be, we came across this incredible opportunity with this healthcare product that we have now. First of all, we're life insurance agents, and we weren't really focusing on the health side. When we had this health product kind of literally fell in our laps, we had the opportunity at that time to see it. When I saw it myself personally, I got goosebumps all over my body because I knew what we had. This was like catching lightning in a bottle twice, which is very rare in some people's lifetimes to catch it twice. We can use this product to actually sell more life insurance.
We are changing the industry. We have a product that no one else has that you can add to your portfolio and walk into a client's home and help them like no one else can.
Now, if there's anything I learned in life, is that the guy with the best system and best product always wins.
What we're doing and how we're doing it hasn't been done before. Nobody else is doing what we're doing. We're actually be able to sell more life insurance by using the healthcare industry.
I knew that as we're sitting there, we were brought together for something special. We are putting families in a situation that they've never been able to be in before financially.
So I look forward to looking you in the eye and showing you how iCAN Financial can change your family heritage for generations to come, like it's doing for me.
Now might be the time for you to make a decision for yourself and your family. iCAN Financial is an accredited company. It is CMS certified, and it is tax penalty free.
Everyone has a birth date. Everyone has a death date. But there's that time in between.
The question is, what are you going to do about it?
It's your choice.
The table is set. The only thing missing is you.
Because if I can, you can.